There once was a king who offered a prize to the artist who would paint the best picture of peace. Many artists tried. The king looked at all the pictures, but there were only two that he really liked, and he had to choose between them. Now, one picture was of a calm lake. The lake made a perfect mirror for the peaceful, towering mountains all around it, and the blue sky with fluffy clouds above it. Many thought that this was a perfect picture of peace. The other picture had mountains too, but they were rugged and bare, with an angry sky above from which rain fell and lightning struck. Down the side of the mountain tumbled a powerful waterfall. All this did not look peaceful at all. Yet behind the waterfall, a tiny bush was growing out of the rock. In the midst of the rush of angry water, there a mother bird had built her nest and sat in perfect peace. Which picture do you think won the prize? Well, the second one the king chose, because, he explained, peace does not mean being in a place where there is no noise, trouble, or hardship. Peace, real peace, means being in the midst of all those things and still being calm in your heart. Well, welcome back. I'm excited to be with you again this morning as we continue our journey together seeking the peace that transcends or surpasses all understanding. The kind that in the midst of the chaos and the complexity and just plain busyness of life in a modern world, where there is calm and rest on the inside, even in the midst of the chaos, busyness, and even storms of life on the outside. Last week we asked the question, can chaos be our friend? And we came to the conclusion that chaos can indeed be our friend, and that in the long run, even the storms and challenges of life can lead to a greater peace and joy if we keep our focus firmly on Jesus rather than on the storms. And we see in the scripture passage that Kathy read a few moments ago what happened when Peter took his eyes off Jesus. He began to sink, or more precisely, he began to drown. But interestingly, even once his eyes were back on Jesus, the storm was still overtaking him. Think about that for a moment. Even after he shifted back to looking at Jesus once more, the storm was still taking him under. Last week we ended with a strong word of encouragement to keep our eyes on Jesus and not the storms and chaos of life. However, we didn't really talk all that much about how to do this or what happens when we think we're doing this, but it isn't working. I mean, it's one thing to decide in my mind that I'm going to stop focusing on the challenges and problems in life and just keep my eyes squarely focused on Jesus. We also know that it's a lot easier said than done. Sometimes we think we're trying to focus on God, we think we're trying to focus on Jesus, but we just can't stop fretting or fuming over that situation or that challenge or that other person that is frustrating us or whatever. When we can even be sitting right here in church, of all places, fretting and fuming and stewing and worrying about something in our life. In fact, we can be listening to Christian music or reading the Bible or even praying and still be stewing and fretting, fuming and worrying over the challenges and chaos and struggles in our lives. And we know this because if we're honest, at some point, we've all been there. I certainly have. Peter wasn't at church or listening to a Christian CD, but for goodness sake, he was in the presence of Jesus that night, in the midst of his storm and chaos out on the water. Yet he still started sinking almost immediately after getting out of the boat. And like Peter, even in the powerful presence of God, we can become overwhelmed and allow our peace to be taken from us, our confidence and stability in life to be rocked to and fro like the boat in which Peter was riding. So today, as we continue our journey towards God's peace in our lives, we'll take a look at some of the obstacles to experiencing God's peace, those peace stealers, if you will, and how to overcome them, so that we might recover that which is often stolen from us. Specifically, that peace of God, which is hard to fully understand or even put into words, but which feels incredible when we experience it in our lives in the midst of the chaotic and challenging places in which we sometimes find ourselves. I've heard it said, if I had to live my life over, I would perhaps have more actual troubles, but I'd have fewer imaginary ones. So often we allow the challenges we face to become much larger than they need to be. Or perhaps even make up new ones, and in the process do damage to our lives, maybe even our relationships with others. So what are those peace stealers, those obstacles to God's peace that we often experience instead of the calm and the rest that is available from God through Jesus Christ? Well, we all experience one or more of these at various times in our lives. I want to look at a few of them, talk a little bit about what causes them, and then we're going to kind of take some time to focus on the solution to overcoming them. So first peace stealer, we often struggle with worry. Anyone ever struggle with worry? Right? How many times do we wake up in the middle of the night and we can't get back to sleep because we're thinking about that situation or that thing that's going on? Ever been called a worry wart? Yeah? Well, that's a huge peace stealer that hits the lives of many people, including many Christians. And we know that there's places in the Bible that tells us not to worry and why we don't need to worry, but we still do it. Stress is another major peace stealer. And while stress can result from worry, stress many times can just be the result of very busy and active and hectic lifestyles. And sometimes, we're dealing with all of that, and it just kind of creates some unhealthy stress. Anger, or holding grudges out of anger, another huge peace stealer. The irony of that one is that it hurts us a lot more than the people that we're angry with or holding grudges toward and unwilling to forgive. Insecurity. This can be a difficult one to admit, especially if you have it, right? Insecure. And sometimes those who are the most insecure put on the biggest, toughest front, right? Sometimes that big, push back, don't mess with me sort of demeanor can actually reflect some insecurity, and that's the kind of way they're trying to hide it. I would suggest that being secure, being confident in who we are is more about knowing who we are as a follower of Jesus Christ and a child of God. And really, the folks that are the most secure are the ones that are gentle and humble and persevering. It's more about those qualities than it really is about toughness. So these are all peace stealers. They're all good to be aware of. However, you can focus on your problems all day long and never overcome them, never get to a solution. So what I want to kind of put before us this morning is that there is a common thread in all of these peace stealers. Something that we're going to have to turn over to God if we ever hope to experience God's peace and joy in far greater ways in our lives. And here's what it is. The greatest obstacle to peace, calm, and rest in our lives: control. Control. And I might add the desire to be in control. In one fairly recent survey of the most memorized Bible verses, this one came up. God helps those who help themselves. Anyone know where that's found in the Bible? It's not there. It's not a Bible verse. In fact, it was actually quoted by Benjamin Franklin. And while Ben Franklin did some incredible things, it kind of reflects this whole desire to be in control, where we want to let God work with us, where we take the lead and God supports us, rather than yielding the reins of our lives to Him. In this scenario, we are the boss. We make the decisions, allowing God to have some input, when what he expects is that we submit to his leadership. Let him make the decisions. Support him in his plans and will. Do you see the difference? It's a huge difference. It's about who is in first and who is in second. Now, I admire Peter's faith. But I think it's notable that he doesn't ask Jesus if he, Peter, should get out of the boat. Basically, he says, Jesus, if it's you, command me to get out of the boat. It's like he's saying, Jesus, tell me to come out. Jesus says, okay, come on out. It's really Peter's decision, if you look closely, who just wants to go. He's looking for affirmation. He wants Jesus to affirm his getting out of the boat. But as I see it, it doesn't really originate from Jesus. I think it's great that Peter's all excited. He wants to get out of the boat. We preach a lot of sermons on getting out of the boat, making a difference for God. But it seems there that Peter was really still trying to control the situation in his excitement by telling Jesus what he wanted to do, rather than seeing what Jesus wanted him to do. And many times when we face the storms and challenges in our lives, we are either going to seek to gain control of the situation ourselves, where the focus is on our personal desires and wants, what we think is best, or we're going to let go of the control and turn it over to God's leading and direction and try to understand what his will is in that situation, where our focus is on him, and we're trying to the best of our abilities more to submit our will to whatever we sense God's is in the midst of it. Either we will grab the reins all that much tighter, or we will, as the saying goes, let go and let God. Reminds me of the old bumper sticker, God is my co-pilot. I know that those who use that bumper sticker meant well, but what it really is saying, if you think about it, is I am in charge, and God assists me when I want it or need it. And if we want to experience God's peace, keeping our eyes focused squarely on Jesus is essential. Yet if our eyes are focused on Jesus sitting in the passenger seat, we're not going to experience God's peace in our lives, and certainly not when life gets kind of crazy and chaotic. We only experience that peace when we're sitting in the passenger seat, eyes fixed firmly on Jesus over in the driver's seat. Now, in order to do that, we've got to trust him. We've got to trust God that he loves us, and that God desires what's best for us. And then we have to be willing to yield control of our lives to him. Yet I believe with all my heart that when we let go and let God, not only will God successfully guide us through life, even when it gets crazy and chaotic and stormy, but we will also often experience stronger relationships with others, greater strength and hope, and peace and joy beyond comprehension. That peace that passes all understanding. Now, if I may, I invite us to ask ourselves a question. What is the most pressing, perhaps stress-inducing, chaos-creating situation going on in your life right now? Think about that for just a moment. Name it in your heart, in your mind. And then ask yourselves these three questions. First, are your eyes, is your focus more on Jesus, more on God, or on that situation that is before you? Where is your focus? Second, do you trust God to handle that situation better than you could? Have you? And then third, have you let go of the control? Have you truly turned it over to God? Have you truly said, God, this is my greatest chaos? You might not say it this way, but chaos creating, stress inducing situation in my life right now, give me the ability to let you guide my actions as I work in the midst of that situation. 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 7 tells us to cast all our anxiety on God because He cares for us. See, the point is that He loves us and we can trust Him. But no matter how hard you try, you won't be able to successfully do that, to truly give Him that situation and leave it there, unless your eyes are focused squarely on Jesus and you have humbly let go of the reins. Let go of trying to be in control of it and given the control over to God. Let go and let God. If your heart's desire this morning is to experience God's incredible peace in your life on the inside, even in the midst of storms and chaos, complexities, and just plain busyness in life, no matter what's going on in your life or in our world, fix your eyes firmly on Jesus. Focus on Him. Do the things that will help you accomplish that, spending time with Him. And let go of trying to direct the outcome. Try to figure out what God's doing and what God's will is, and try to get in line with that, rather than just kind of going with your gut. You see, only this will bring you peace. God's peace. That peace which is beyond our ability to fully understand, but which feels wonderful as you experience it in your life. Let's pray. Dear God, thank you so much for your word and for, God, what it teaches us about your heart, about your love, and about your desire to walk with us and to lead and guide us through the easy places and those that are a little bit more chaotic. God, your word says that we can experience peace even in the midst of the chaotic world in which we often find ourselves. God, give us the ability to trust you and to take the steps that will truly give you lordship, give you control in our lives. And we're going to trust you, God, that as we do, you will work on those peace stealers, the worry, the stress, the fear, the insecurity, the anger. God, as we yield the control of our lives, we're going to experience your peace and your joy in even more significant ways than perhaps we ever have before. God, let it be so. In Jesus' name.